Just wait a moment. There's a stain here, so I'll clean it up. What? At the sudden, incomprehensible words, I turned around and something cold hit my face, and I fell to the ground. The moss green party dress I was wearing slowly started to stain. What's happening? Water and flowers. Looking up, my sister-in-law, wearing a stunning dress, was holding a decorated vase. Water was dripping from the mouth of the vase. A dirty sister-in-law, like you can become clean with this. My sister-in-law, seeming to enjoy herself deeply, had a mean and ugly smile on her face. My name is Kate, and I am 35 years old. While keeping the household, I also work in caregiving. My husband, who is the same age as me, was a high school classmate, and we hit it off after reuniting at a reunion. Starting as friends, after his proposal, we began dating and smoothly moved on to marriage. We don't have children, but we lead a fulfilling life. However, the relationship with my in-laws is not very good. For some reason, from the beginning of our marriage, I have been continuously antagonized by my younger sister-in-law, Susan. Don't touch anything with those hands that have been taking care of drooling elderly people. It's dirty. You do dirty jobs, and your income is less than half of mine. That's the price you pay for neglecting your studies. I have often been told such things since I got married. The caregiving job does indeed get dirty often, and the low pay does not match the hard labor. However, the job brings a sense of fulfillment, and there are many joys in the relationships with the service users and their families. There is something recent I remember. Before getting married, there was a very kind and friendly elderly woman with advancing dementia at a facility where I work. Everyone at the facility affectionately called her Mary, but she suddenly passed away from old age. Later, when her family came to pick up her belongings, they told me this. Before we asked this facility for help, honestly, the whole family was at their limit. My elderly grandmother had even forgotten about me, whom she once cherished and needed care. But since we started getting help here, the family has had more breathing room, and the feeling of cherishing our mother like before has returned. It is thanks to all of you that we could continue to love our grandmother to the end. I am grateful to you. Thank you. When the granddaughter and the rest of the family told me this, I also found myself crying. At that time, I was questioning whether caregiving was the right job for me, and I had even thought about quitting several times. However, that one comment validated all my efforts and motivated me to continue working. Thanks to such precious experiences, I now feel proud of my profession. Despite this, it was very unpleasant to be criticized by my sister-in-law Susan, who seemed to have no understanding of caregiving. Do you even realize how rude you are right now? She works hard every day for her family. Someone like you, who doesn't even have a family, has no right to mock her. Fortunately, every time Susan criticized me, my husband always stood by my side, but each time she would sulk and retort unhappily. Hey brother, trying hard is only good for children. Besides, thinking about having someone who has touched the excrement of other elderly people cook for me makes me feel sick. After all, caregiving is something that anyone will experience as their parents age. It's laughable that you call such a normal thing a profession and take pride in it. My husband and I were very puzzled by Susan's words and could only be amazed. Seeing that his parents did not say anything, my husband believed they truly thought, she is right because she performed better in school than us, who only graduated from high school. My husband raised the issue several times, but his parents seemed to not respond at all. Originally, Susan was the youngest child born into the family and was clever and beautiful from a young age, so she was much loved by everyone around her. When Susan graduated from a prestigious university and was hired by a multinational company, she became the most respected person in the family. Her parents were those who prioritized Susan first. Now, Susan's words are always prioritized, and the only one who can speak up to her is her older brother, my husband. However, the words of a brother who went to an ordinary university and works for a small to medium-sized company seemed to go in one ear and out the other for her. My in-laws' home was not a comfortable place for either my husband or me, but we decided to keep our visits to a few times a year and maintain a reasonable relationship. Regardless of the situation at my in-laws' place, the relationship between my husband and me is very good. And just as I love my husband, he also treats me with utmost care. For me, my husband is the ideal partner. One day, we received unexpected news. It turns out that my sister-in-law, Susan, is getting married. Moreover, she wants to wear a wedding dress before she turns 30, and it seems that the wedding and reception are planned to be held soon. According to her parents, her future husband is a wonderful young man who works at the city hall. Furthermore, his parents are civil servants who own a home in New York, and he has an older brother who is already married. Indeed, he has impeccable qualifications as a spouse. Having no risk of layoffs and owning a home in New York implies a certain level of wealth. I am impressed by his perfection. Although we were surprised by this sudden happy news, we decided to wholeheartedly congratulate them. And then, the day of the wedding arrived quickly. The weather was perfectly clear and refreshingly beautiful. It had been a long time since we attended a wedding, and the venue was a luxurious hotel, so I put on makeup more carefully than usual, dressed in a moss green dress, and posed for my husband. How do I look? Do I look beautiful? Yes, very beautiful. Smiling at his response, I felt my face light up with joy. In the end, I had never met her fiancé before, and today would be our first meeting. Although he is Susan's fiancé, I couldn't help but feel something. But today is a special day for them, and I truly wanted to bless them. At that moment, my husband's smartphone vibrated. Hello, yes, I understand. What, really? Okay, I'm on my way now. Suddenly, he hung up the phone and, looking hurried, shouted, We have to hurry. The family introduction is starting soon. What? I checked the invitation again. Looking back, we had also sent a separate note asking our relatives to come early to our own wedding. Despite this, there was no such information included this time. I recalled Susan's mischievous smile. When we hurried to the hotel, the family introduction had already finished, and everyone was freely mingling. Many other guests were present, and the hall was crowded. We rushed to my in-laws, who looked displeased. When we apologized, my father-in-law glared at us with sharp eyes. How could you be late on such an important day? What were you thinking? I'm sorry we were late. However, we were not instructed to come early. Look, here it is. My husband showed the invitation, and my father-in-law shook his head. There's no way she would make such a mistake. You must have overlooked something. My husband was at a loss for words, and my mother-in-law, dressed in a black formal dress, said quietly, Someone will explain later, so make sure to greet everyone again before the reception starts, to avoid embarrassing her. My husband probably did not want to cause any more trouble at this joyous event. He seemed to accept my mother-in-law's words reluctantly. We both felt a bit uneasy. Maybe we should go to the bathroom first. Yes, that's a good idea. I agreed with my husband's suggestion. Our hair was messy because we had rushed. To reset our mood, we went to the bathroom, and on our way back, I saw Susan in her wedding dress. Susan, I came full of a desire to congratulate her, but in this state, it didn't seem like I could genuinely enjoy the ceremony. I couldn't help but call out to her. Clearly annoyed, she looked at me and responded curtly, Why did you come? What does that mean? I received an invitation and informed them of my attendance, so it's natural that I came. Her incomprehensible question made me forget what I wanted to ask. Her eyes, staring at me in the deserted hallway, seemed to be judging me, like casting pearls before swine. A luxurious hotel and a sister-in-law. It's just out of place. I couldn't understand what she meant. I was dressed appropriately for the occasion, and though I had been a bit disheveled earlier, I had since fixed myself up. Looking around, I didn't feel out of place at all, Susan continued. I thought people like you, who work in low-paid caregiving, would be too embarrassed to come here. Or did you just show up because you rarely get to visit such places? Her words were irritating, but I couldn't cause a scene here, so I suppressed my anger out of consideration for my husband. I always wonder, why do you speak like that? I'm here because I was invited, and I genuinely want to convey my congratulations. Also, many of the guests are elderly. Such remarks are not appropriate. Are you trying to say something to me? Despite my calm response, Susan frowned in displeasure. You married an ordinary husband, have no children, and you're satisfied with a low-paying, dirty job, yet you dare to lecture me. That's a joke. She was the one actually mocking people. I felt my blood boil. Just as I was about to retort, my husband called me from behind. When I realized what was happening and came back to my senses, she sneered through her nose. Today is my special day. Please avoid any unnecessary trouble. Saying that, she left accompanied by the staff. My husband approached me with concern. Are you okay? What happened? It's always like this. Don't worry. It's not a big deal. Despite trying to stay calm, my voice trembled. My husband seemed to sense something and silently hugged me. Honestly, I have lost interest in Susan's wedding. However, if I make a scene now, it will inconvenience many people, excluding Susan. So I decided to restrain myself today. Swallowing all the words I wanted to say, I quietly attended the ceremony under my husband's protection. I couldn't muster any feelings of celebration. I just bowed my head and waited for the time to pass. Since I had paid a substantial gift of money, I decided to at least make the most of the meal. After the ceremony, as we were heading to the reception venue, a staff member suddenly stopped me. "The bride has requested to speak with you. She says she has something to tell her sister-in-law." Confused about what it could be, but knowing I must go if it was the bride's request, I told my husband and headed to the dressing room. In the dressing room, Susan, having just changed her outfit, was adjusting her accessories. "Can we have a moment alone, please?" "Yes, but the reception is about to start soon, so not for long." "I know. Just leave us alone quickly." Intimidated by Susan's raised voice, the staff hesitantly left the dressing room. What on earth does she intend? Grumbling, Susan reapplied her lipstick and looked at me sharply. "Do you understand why I called you here?" "No, I don't." "Do I really need to spell it out?" "This is why low education is such a problem." "What exactly do you want to tell me?" "Called there only to be insulted," I asked while suppressing my irritation. "If you don't understand, I'll make it clear I've explained things to everyone. And I want you to leave now." "What?" Startled by Susan's unexpected demand, I was at a loss for words. Susan continued to be upset. "You've already come, so I'll allow you to attend. But I never expected you to stay for the reception. That's really brazen. You really are clueless." Susan's mocking laughter was as grating as ever, but I also felt a desire to leave. A direct refusal would mean no later blame from my in-laws. "It's a shame I won't enjoy the reception meal. But it's far better than spending it with a fake smile." "Understood." With that decision made, I reached for my phone to contact my husband and was about to leave when she spoke. "Just wait a moment. There's a stain here, so I'll clean it up." "What?" At the sudden baffling words, I turned around and something cold hit my face and I fell to the ground. The moss green party dress I was wearing slowly started to stain. "What's happening?" "Water and flowers." Looking up, Susan, in a stunning dress, was holding a decorated vase. Water was dripping from the vase and Susan had a malicious smile. "A dirty sister-in-law like you can become clean with this. The flowers are just for charm. Just adding a little beauty to your plain face. No thanks needed." Susan seemed genuinely pleased as she said this and reached for the intercom. "Oh, sorry. My sister-in-law tripped and knocked over the vase. I have to attend the reception. Can you take care of the cleanup?" Susan then immediately threw the vase at me. The vase rolled on the floor and stopped at my feet. Unlike the previous sarcasm and insults, this direct action was a first, and I was stunned. "I feel much better now. I'll say it again. Don't come to the reception. Go back alone. It would be a nuisance to see you there." Now I finally understood. Usually because my husband and in-laws are around, she couldn't take such actions. In this state, it would be foolish to go to the reception, and I might not even be able to get on the train for my return. Seeing me despondent, Susan smirked triumphantly. As I gritted my teeth, I heard someone running towards the door. Suddenly, the door opened, and the situation changed dramatically. "What are you doing to her?" The man standing in front of me wasn't staff but appeared to be the out-of-breath groom, holding a vivid red bouquet of roses. Nothing. She fell over by herself and got doused with the vase water." Susan answered calmly, then glanced at the bouquet, unable to hide her delight, and exclaimed, "Wow, bright red roses. Beautiful. Is this a surprise?" "Yes, it's I'm so happy. I told you I was wearing a red dress. Let's go to the reception. She's fine. I've already informed the staff, so it doesn't concern us." "It doesn't concern us." The groom glanced briefly at Susan's arm wrapped around his, then shook her off. He then walked over to me, pulled out a handkerchief from his pocket, and offered it. "Please use this." "Thank you." As I accepted the handkerchief, I checked the time, and the reception was about to start. "I'm fine. Please go ahead to the reception. While I don't care for Susan, the groom and other guests are innocent. I don't want to cause them any trouble because of me. Let's go. Don't worry about her." "Sister-in-law, didn't Susan just say it doesn't concern her?" My hesitant reaction probably let something slip. Susan stood frozen, a look of realization on her face. Behind her, the groom smiled at me. "You are a special benefactor, especially as my sister-in-law." "What do you mean?" Both Susan's and my voices of surprise echoed at the same time. "A benefactor? What is he talking about?" I was supposed to meet this groom for the first time today. As I looked at his face, I recalled the past and finally made the connection. By any chance, are you related to Chloe Miller, whose family I cared for at the facility where I used to work?" "Yes, that's right. You really helped us out back then." Indeed, he was from the family of Chloe Miller, who had once told me as a caregiver, "I'm glad I met you." It turns out that my fiancé's sister-in-law is the caregiver who helped us back then. At that time, I only knew her by her last name, and all I heard from her was that she had a brother who was married. What? You knew each other? And what do you mean by benefactor? Isn't your grandma long gone by now? Susan was unable to grasp the situation and looked confused. That's right. Just before our grandmother passed away, your sister-in-law was the one who cared for her in our family's place. Susan averted her eyes at this unexpected connection. After a moment of silence, Susan forced a smile at the groom and said, "Oh, I see. Anyway, let's go to the reception. Everyone is waiting." "But what about her?" "Look, leave her to the staff. You know, she really is so careless. She came to celebrate but ended up tripping and getting all wet." I was simply astonished at how boldly Susan could lie. As I wiped my body with a towel handed to me by the staff, he looked at Susan with disbelief and said, "I didn't realize you were that kind of person." "What?" Leaving a puzzled Susan behind, the groom picked up an object that looked like a hardcover book sitting on the windowsill. It looked like a bookcase, but when opened, a hidden camera appeared. "What is that? Were you secretly filming?" I apologize for having the camera on. We rushed the wedding so much that there wasn't time for a proper proposal, so I planned a surprise proposal during the reception. While Susan stood speechless in shock, the groom quietly continued his explanation. "The plan was like this: after you changed outfits, I would go to the dressing room where you were resting alone, propose again in a private setting, and after getting your response, carry you to the reception hall. The whole scene was to be filmed and shown live at the venue as a surprise." Shown live. Susan's complexion turned visibly pale. I had to cancel the live feed to the venue due to an unexpected visitor, but I saw everything. "I saw all your actions." The groom briefly glanced at me, then added sarcastically, "I never imagined such a surprise would occur." Susan couldn't stop shaking. Her face was a mix of anger and panic. "You made various excuses to prevent me from meeting your brother and sister-in-law. But today the true reason became clear. To you, academic credentials and appearances are everything, but you said the same thing. That's smart. Beautiful people should be valued. You're misunderstanding something. What I said was that anyone who works hard in their studies' appearance, or whatever it may be, deserves recognition. That doesn't mean they should look down on others." As the groom coldly responded, Susan was at a loss for words. Ignoring the bouquet of roses on the floor, the groom spoke to Susan in a calm voice. "I can't cancel the reception, but we'll discuss what happens next later." As the groom left, Susan collapsed to her knees in shock. Then, she turned a fierce gaze on me. "This is the worst. You've ruined the wedding because of your low education and plain looks. I'm going to sue you." Seeing Susan reveal her true nature and start screaming, I was surprisingly calm in my response. "Even if you say you'll sue, I think the outcome would be unfavorable for you. But if you're okay with that, why not try?" "What are you talking about? It's the truth. You were the one who threw the water and lied, and all of it is recorded on video. You ruined the ceremony with your own actions." Susan didn't expect me to fight back so strongly and was left speechless, her anger clearly visible on her face. "Shut up, I hate you. Just disappear." Susan's voice was filled with rage, and her fury controlled her. She hastily picked up the bouquet that had fallen to the floor and threw it at me with all her might. As I closed the door, the sound of the bouquet scattering on the floor echoed, along with her angry screams throughout the venue. Soon after, my husband and in-laws hurried over in response to the staff's call. Seeing me drenched, my husband immediately rushed over and checked on me with concern. Meanwhile, my parents-in-law merely glanced at me, unable to hide their anxiety and confusion at their daughter's tantrum. When the groom played the video he had prepared, in response to the demand to know what had happened, my parents-in-law were speechless, and my husband could hardly contain his anger. Her actions were clearly excessive. If I had known this would happen, I should have kept her at a distance from the start. "I'm really sorry you had to go through this." "It's okay, I managed to speak up for myself too." That helped me feel a bit better. I tried to calm my husband. While his parents were still wondering what to do next, I quietly spoke to them. "I don't have a change of clothes, and staying here won't let her calm down. I'll be leaving now." At this, they showed a momentary relief and said, "All right, leave this matter to us. It would help if you could go back as soon as possible. Today's main character is our daughter. You'll forgive her, won't you?" They replied. I sighed slightly at their words, understanding their parental heart, yet prepared to leave. At that moment, my husband gently embraced my shoulders and firmly addressed his family. He declared boldly in front of them, "I cannot allow my wife to continue being treated this way. I'm truly sorry, but we will need to keep some distance moving forward." I hope everyone here has a long and happy life." This sudden declaration left his parents shocked and utterly speechless. Afterward, we quietly left the venue while holding each other's hands. The planned reception did start, but was delayed by several minutes and eventually had to be canceled due to unsettling and frantic behavior. At the scene, the groom announced their divorce, and Susan found herself single again just a month after getting married. I heard that she blamed the entire series of failures on me, but all of it was the result of her own actions, and I felt no sympathy for her situation. It seemed that the consequences of her past behaviors had finally come back to haunt her. After cutting ties with my in-laws, one day, I asked my husband if he felt lonely being away from his biological family, to which he immediately responded with a bright smile. "What are you talking about? I have you, and we're going to have more family members soon." As he said this, he lovingly stroked my belly. "We're going to build a warm home for this child." His gaze was tenderly fixed on me and the new life growing inside me, his expression as warm as a gentle patch of sunlight. I wholeheartedly wish for a happy future together with him.